Hi everyone! So today I'm going to show you how to crochet the double crochet stitch. I love this stitch as the projects you can use it in are absolutely endless. I'm talking beanies, blankets, jumpers, granny squares and more. This is a great stitch to start with. Now if you're going to crochet along with me, there are a few things that you need to get ready. You'll need some wool, and I'm just going to be using this 8-ply double knit. You will need a crochet hook, and I'm going to be using a 4mm, which I would recommend for this type of wool, and then of course a pair of scissors. Now that we have our materials ready, let's get started. The first thing that we need to make sure is that we are leaving a long enough tail to weave in at the end of our project. Now if you're not sure how much to leave, just measure the length of your hand and that should be enough. So we're going to start with our slip knot, and I like to hold my yarn between my thumb and my first 2 fingers, and I'm going to just gently wrap around. I'm going to go a second time, but making sure I go behind that first loop, and you will see that I have now got 2 loops on my fingers. I'm going to take my crochet hook and gently go underneath the first loop and on top of the second one, because I'm going to hook it back underneath that first loop. Just gently going to hold on to the 2 tails and pull up with my crochet hook. And that is your first slip knot. Now you'll see that it is quite loose, so just give a tug on the tail that is still attached to your yarn. You do not want to make it too tight. Make sure that it's still able to glide on your crochet hook. Okay. Keeping the tail to the right hand side just so that you do not accidentally crochet it. I'm right-handed, so I like to hold my hook in my right hand, and where this flat section is of my crochet hook is naturally where my thumb tends to go. Not all crochet hooks will have this flat section, and that's okay, but you generally want to hold your hook somewhere in the middle. Now, when it comes to holding your yarn, there are various ways to do it. You just need to find a way that is comfortable for you. The way I like to do it is wrap it around my pinky finger and gently cradle it between thumb and forefinger on my left hand. Okay, so we're going to make a couple of chains, and these form the foundation of most of your crochet projects, and they're pretty simple. So for this example of our double crochet today, I'm going to ask you to make 12 chains. So we're going to yarn over back to front, and you'll see that we've now got 2 loops on our hook. We're going to gently pull that first loop through the second one. And that is our first chain, and you'll see that it makes a sort of V shape. Alright, let's make another. Yarn over and pull through. We now have 2 chains. Now we're going to keep doing this until we've got 12, and I'm going to go slowly so that you can follow along with me. Okay, I've now done my 12 chains, and just to double check, I'm going to count the V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now for our first double crochet, we're actually going to be working in the 3rd chain from the hook, and leaving those first 2 chains. We are not going to count it as our first double crochet, but what it is going to do is give us that nice clean border. So we're first going to yarn over, and now we're going to work in that 3rd space. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to insert our hook, and it'll now appear as though we've got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, and we're just going to pull through that first loop, still leaving us with 3. We're going to yarn over again and pull through the next 2. Now we're left with 2. We're going to yarn over and pull through the next 2. And that is our first double crochet. Let's do another. So yarn over, we're going to work in the next space. Put your crochet hook through. You should have 3 loops on. Yarn over, pull through the first one, yarn over, pull through the next 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now we have 2 double crochets. We're going to work all the way to the end and we should end up with 10 double crochets. I'm going to work slowly so you can follow along. You do want to make sure you are keeping your tension fairly loose, so not too tight, not too loose, but a bit of a happy medium. You don't want big gaping holes, but you also don't want it to be so tight that you're struggling to work in these spaces. What you will notice is, by the way I hold my yarn, is that by the time I have inserted my hook, it almost does an automatic yarn over. You also want to make sure that you are working away from the neck of the hook. As you'll see, it is a lot narrower. The minute we start working down towards the neck, the size of our loops becomes smaller and it creates problems in our work. Every now and then just do a check on your tail, make sure you're not accidentally using that to yarn over. Now that I've finished my last one, let's just count and make sure we have 10. Now there's 2 ways you can count. You can count the individual stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or you can count the V's on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, to keep that nice straight edge, we're going to chain 2. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to actually turn our work around and start working in these gaps in the back. Remembering that these 2 chains do not count as your first double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to work in the first space. When you push through, make sure that you've got both loops of that V on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, leaving you with 3, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2. And that's our first double crochet in our second row. Okay, yarn over into the next space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2. And that's our second double crochet. We're going to go all the way to the end, making sure we have 10. get to the last space, it's actually the top of your chain 2 from the previous round. Okay, and that is our second row. So let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It is good in the beginning to get in the habit of counting your stitches at the end of each row, just to make sure you haven't accidentally skipped one or added one. Now, if we were to continue, I would chain 2, turn my work, and start working in that first space. But we're not going to do that today. What I will do instead is show you how to finish this off if it was your last row in your project. So you want to leave a generous tail for weaving in. Just snip it off. You're going to yarn over like you're doing a chain, pull through, except this time pull all the way through and give it a gentle tug. Now if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments what project you feel like trying out using the double crochet stitch.